So you want to learn how to play the Legion. Maybe you love their cosmetics, or maybe you're new to Dead by Daylight and want to learn an easy character. Whatever the reason, this video should teach you the basics of Legion, and hopefully jumpstart your way to Prestige 100. The Legion is a collection of 4 teenagers, as far as skins are concerned at least: Frank, Julie, Susie, and Joey. They're a 115% speed killer with an average terror radius. The Legion's power is fairly simple: stab, 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 stab. In other words, they can enter a frenzied state, in which they move at a faster speed of 5.2 meters a second, and can vault pallets and windows. In addition, their basic attack is replaced by a frenzied attack, which gives the survivor deep wounds, and any survivors within your terror radius have Killer Instinct active on them for the duration of the frenzy. If you hit all 4 survivors, a 5th hit will immediately put that survivor into the dying state. Plus, each successful hit in frenzy will increase frenzy movement speed by 0.2 meters a second. This makes the Legion very good at applying pressure against newer survivors, but more experienced survivors will simply not heal, turning you into a basic M1 killer. Due to their simplicity and straightforward power, the Legion is a very good killer for beginners, but not very good in higher tiers. But if you want to play Legion in Iridescent 1, go for it. Don't say I didn't warn you. The Legion's perks are decent, with some very good ones and some very mediocre ones. Their first perk is Iron Maiden, which reduces the cooldown for opening lockers by 50%, as well as making any survivors who exit lockers scream and become exposed for 30 seconds. The exposure isn't the most valuable thing, since survivors barely use lockers. It does have some value, especially on Artist, since her crows go away if a survivor hops in a locker, and as a counter to Head On, because fuck you. Its true value is for use on killers who open lockers a lot, like Huntress and Trickster, due to the reload speed's large increase. Their second perk is Mad Grit, which removes the cooldown on missed basic attacks while carrying a survivor, as well as pausing the wiggle timer on the carried survivor for 4 seconds on a successful attack. On its own, it doesn't provide very much value, but when combined with other perks such as Starstruck, Awakened Awareness, Agitation, or Thrilling Tremors, it can help in some situations. Of course, that's like saying a stab wound has some usage when combined with a high pain tolerance, since you gain an extra pocket. Their third and final perk is Discordance, which highlights the aura of any generator being worked on by 2 or more people in yellow, which lingers for 4 seconds after they leave the generator. This is a very good information perk, as it has no downside and pairs very well with high mobility killers like Blight or Xenomorph, and stealth killers like Ghostface or Mikey. As for add-ons, the Legion has some decent ones. They aren't terrible, but they also won't make every survivor in the post-game chat call you racial slurs. The Fuming Mixtape will make gen progression visible by the aura of said generator regressing while in Feral Frenzy. This is a pretty good effect, although you won't get a ton of use out of it, since you would usually activate your power after you run up to a progressed generator to get as many people as possible with your power. The other iridescent add-on is the Iridescent Button, which makes it so that whenever you vault a pallet, it breaks immediately after. This is also good, breaking loops and allowing you to apply pressure without having to worry about breaking pallets. The Legion Pin is a green add-on that inflicts the broken status effect on any survivor who mends themselves from a deep wound for 60 seconds. This is their best add-on, allowing you to easily keep up pressure without doing anything. Never Sleep Pills are a yellow add-on that reduces your frenzy to 4.6 meters a second, or 115% speed, but extends the duration by 10 seconds. This is a really good perk if you want to get as many people as possible with Frenzy, as it allows you to cover more distance. It also pairs very well with Monitor and Abuse, Susie's Mixtape, and Distressing, as extending your terror radius will extend Killer Instinct detection range. It can also really fuck up survivors, since your terror radius is suddenly extended so much. Finally, Friendship Bracelet will increase your frenzy lunges by 0.3 meters, which sounds like a small amount, and it is, but more lunge is always good. However, if you are a new player and just getting to know how to play Legion, it's best not to use Never Sleep Pills or Friendship Bracelet until you have a good grasp of playing them. If you use them near the beginning, it'll mess up your muscle memory and you'll struggle without them. The Legion thrives on injured survivors and speed, so some good perks to run on them are Thanatophobia, which will give a stackable 2% speed decrease to reappearing. What was I doing here? Reappearing. It's repairing, not reappearing. Okay. Thanatophobia, which will give a stackable 2% speed decrease to repairing, cleansing, and sabotaging globally for each survivor injured, downed, or hooked. However, if all 4 survivors are in one of those states, then it becomes a global 20% debuff to all actions. Since the Legion will constantly be doing damage to survivors, this is an easy way to extend the game and give you more time to get kills. 20% speed decrease is a huge amount, so survivors have to choose between a huge nerf and constant deep wounds. The perk description isn't clear about this, and makes it seem like a 12% debuff max, when in reality, it's 20%. A Nurse's Calling will reveal the auras of any healing survivors within 28 meters of you, including self-mending from deep wounds. This is incredibly powerful when combined with Thanatophobia, as survivors have a much higher incentive to heal and will reveal their location more frequently. Deadlock will block the most progressed generator for 20 seconds anytime a generator is completed. This is another way to get easy passive slowdown, and with how quickly you can patrol generators, this will come in handy very frequently. Deadlock is honestly a great perk to throw on any killer, any build, and you will always get value out of it. Jolt, or Surge if you're a loser who actually bought Demogorgon, will make all generators within 32 meters explode, losing 8% progress and beginning regressing whenever you put a survivor into the dying state. This is a great background perk, but it becomes even better if you take advantage of it and corral survivors into areas with multiple generators nearby. This will even knock survivors off of gens that are being repaired, unlike Thrilling Tremors. No Way Out will gain a token each time you hook a survivor for the first time, up to a maximum of 4. Once a survivor tries to open the exit gates, you will get a loud noise notification and both gates will be blocked for 12 seconds, plus 9 seconds for each totem, up to a maximum of 60 seconds. 1 whole minute of additional time to find and hook survivors is a really long time, so it pretty much gives you a second chance to get victory. Be warned that people may yell at you in post-game chat. I wouldn't know. I play on console. If you're a new player, you may be tempted to use NOED, but don't. The only reason you may want to is to counter the adrenaline meta, and to do that you need to know exactly how to use NOED properly, which takes a lot of game sense and experience, which you likely don't have considering you clicked on this video. NOED is a crutch perk, so only use it on a character you have a lot of experience with. Something I don't see a lot in guides to killers is how to counter the killer, which is fine, but it's like telling someone that the pool has been sanitized but not telling them that it's full of bleach until they've done a cannonball. If you know your killer's counters, you can counter the counters until you lose count of how many times you've said counter in a sentence, which in this case was 4. The best counter to Legion is to simply separate and stay far away from each other. This limits how many people can be hit with Frenzy at a time, and limits the number of people injured at a time. The Legion can't stab if their power runs out before they can get the second stab, after all. The best way to avoid this is to not worry too much about hitting everyone with your friends. If you have a large enough terror radius, you can get lots of intel on where survivors are, and use that to go towards them in your standard M1 state to deal damage. The other main counter is to only heal deep wounds, as this will turn them into a very basic M1 killer, which is not only easy to counter, but incredibly boring for the killer. The best way to counter this is to run perks like Thanatophobia and A Nurse's Calling, which will incentivize players to heal more often. For tips, it is always valuable to do a lunge at the very end of your frenzy, even though it's unlikely you would hit, since it extends your frenzy by a short amount, so you might be able to land that hit that can get you down. This isn't common, but hey, no downside, so might as well do it. It's also good to sometimes frenzy as soon as someone drops a pallet, slide over, and hit them even if they're already injured. It is worth noting that survivors will probably be expecting this, so be ready for a chase. This will still give them deep wounds, give you intel on other survivors, and if you have Iridescent Button, it'll break the pallet as well. Finally, Legion works best as a stepping stone to better and more complicated killers. They won't make you a master at Nurse or anything, but they can help you out with some basic M1 killers like Wraith, Sadako, or Xenomorph. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go and figure out how this thing works.